Hello and welcome back to Merlin Magic. I am a mentalist and I'm going to show you a really cool mentalism trick today.
You're not Kermit the Frog, you're a mentalist.
Oh, yes. Oh, sorry, guys. Yeah. This is Merlin's Magic and this is another mentalism video. So what we need is a beautiful assistant. Voila. And we just need you guys to subscribe quickly before we start the video. Right. So like I said, this is a mentalism video. So what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and predict 3 choices that my assistant is about to make. I'm going to predict before she even makes her own choice herself. So that is going to be the trick. And with always, there's going to be a tutorial on how it's done straight after. So let's get into the video. So we've got a pack of cards here. Just before we start, just to make sure that everyone thinks it's nice and fair, we're just going to give them a quick riffle shuffle like that. And what I want you to do is cut the cards like that, or wherever you want to just place them. Don't do a full cut, just place them to the side for me. Okay, what we're going to do, we're just going to mark that here. I'm just going to set them off to the side. I'm going to come back to that later. Actually, let's get it in there. No, we'll have it there. Okay, so for the first trick, I'm going to try and predict a number. It can be any number. It doesn't have to be a single digit. It can be a double or a 3-digit number. Okay, hang on just a minute. Just focus to me. Look at me. Okay. Right, okay, I'm ready. So now think of your number. It can be, like I said, any digit, any number. So I'm trying to work out whether it's a 2 or a 3. I guess she's just given me that. Okay, I'm just going to write down what I think it is. Right. Yeah, I'm happy with that one. So I'm just going to place that down to the side. Okay, now for the second one, you can pick any word in the dictionary. It can be your favourite word. It could be an object. It could be anything. Well, just before we did that, just for the benefit of the audience, just to make sure that they know we haven't pre-arranged anything, could you just go ahead and tell your audience what your number you were thinking of?
23.
23, brilliant. Okay, so for this one, it's any word in the English language. Thinking about it now, have you got one? Look at me. Oh, some of them letters are... Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. I'm pretty happy with that one too. I would say, for the final one, you've now randomly selected a number and any word of your choice. At the start of the trick, you personally cut down, had a fair choice of any cards to land on. So you've now arrived at a random, but before we reveal what card you've cut to, just for the benefit of the audience again, just to make sure it's not been set up, just let the audience know what your word was you chose.
Photographer.
Photographer, okay, that's brilliant. Okay, so now you come to a card. That will be your card, so just have a look at it. Don't show me. That showed the audience. Okay, you're positive I didn't see it?
Yeah.
Okay, so now I'm just going to... Right, okay. Yeah. What you have to do, guys, is if you start to get mentioned, you've got to really gauge the audience. You've got to really get a connection, get a bond to be able to get inside their mind like so. So now I'm going to...
Show them.
Okay, I think that is... So, like I said, I was going to accurately predict... Hang on. 3 choices she made before she did them. So the first thing I asked her was, think of a number. And just for the first time, it's the first time I'm showing, the number was, what was it?
23.
There we go, 23. I'll show the camera. Can you see that? Yeah. The second thing I asked you was for a word, and you chose...
Photographer.
I was close. I was thinking it was going to be something camera or potentially picture. I said
Photo.
Photo. So I think I've given myself that one, guys. What do you think? Photo. That's close enough. Photo, photographer. And for the final thing I asked her to do was she cut down to a randomly selected card. Her card was...
The 5 of Hearts.
There we go. And just to show the camera, the 5 of hearts. And there we go, that's the reaction, guys. It will puzzle your spectator, and they'll be thinking, how the hell has he done that? But now, I'm going to let you on a little secret. I'm going to let you know how you can perform this amazingly powerful mentalism trick. So on with the tutorial. So what you do, guys, for this is there's a few things to it. So if there's any magicians watching, you'll probably know what I mean by the one ahead. That is how this trick works. It's called the magician's one step ahead of the spectator. So what you do is, first of all, you decide on a card you're going to force. In this case, I chose the 5 of hearts. Place that on top. And what I did, I gave it a riffle shuffle, just for the benefit of the viewer or you guys watching, to make it look like I'd actually randomised the cards, so I couldn't possibly know any of the cards. What I did was, I did riffle shuffle, but I kept a couple of cards on the top, so it was a fake riffle shuffle. So I'll show you a bit close. So what you do is make sure you've got your selection on top. And when you go to break for the riffle shuffle, once you've got halfway, remember which packet has their card on the top. And all you do, as you riffle down, just make sure that you leave a couple of cards on that pile on the top to maintain their order like that. So then you're all ready to go. The spectator thinks it's shuffled. You then go, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get you to cut down like this to any moment, and then that's going to be your selection. So you show them, because you don't want them to do a full cut, otherwise you'll lose the spectator's card. So because you know their card is the 5 of hearts, that's the one you're going to force. This is a really easy force if you're new to magic or sleight of hand or mentalism. This is a really easy force. For this trick, I don't think, did you pick it up being a force? Did it look like a random selection?
Yeah.
And if you want to know why, I'm personally interested in psychology, so I try and use psychology in my magic for the mentalism. It's called a time delay. Your brain will forget after a certain amount of time exactly what it saw. So if I do it now, you'll actually be able to pick it up. So I said, okay, cut anyway. She cut it there. What I did was I placed the packet. This should have been her selection, which is the 4 of hearts. What I did was I then made a cross. It's called a cross force. All I've done is, so they've gone, okay, I'm going to select here. They placed that's the card they're going to pick. All I did was put the packet on top. So they're actually choosing the top card. But because there's a time delay, because I come back to that later, they've forgotten the move. They think that's somewhere in the middle of the deck. But in actual fact, you've just placed the top card in the middle. So you know that's going to be the 5 of hearts. So that's how that works. So you come to this position. So then you say, okay, we're going to come back to that in a minute. And this is where the one step ahead comes in. So you say, okay, what I'm going to do is, I want you to think of a number. Then you can do any kind of mentalist kind of gestures to make it look like you're trying to build a connection. Then you go, okay, so think of a number. Say she thinks of 64, and she'll be thinking of 64. What I write down is the 3rd selection, which is the card. I write down the card first. So in this case, I'm writing down 5 of hearts, like that. And that's a really poor heart, guys. I failed my art GCSE. So you've written down 5 of hearts. They think you're writing down a number. So you're staying one step ahead of the spectator. So you go, okay, I think I've got a number. Then you get them to reveal their number, which was, say, 63. You then remember that for the next time. So you're going, okay, yeah, I think I've got that. You obviously don't show them, otherwise they'll see you've written down a card. So you go, okay, I think I've got your number. Okay, so we'll move on to a word. And this one again, you go through the same routine. So okay, think of any word in the English language you want. I'm just going to gauge, and again, it's all about acting and just making it look like you've got a connection. So then they'll think of a word. It could be, I don't know, platoon. And you're not actually writing down platoon because you don't know what it is. All you're doing is writing down the number they've just said, which would be 63. So you're writing down 63, peeling it off, pretending it's the word. Then you say, okay, could you just reveal to the camera, just so you know there's been no setup, what was your word? And they'll say platoon. Then you're remembering that for the 3rd time. Then you move on to the card and you say, okay, you came at a randomly selected card for the first time, look at it, which of course is the 5 of hearts. Then say, okay, I'm going to try and, okay, I think I've got your card. Rather than writing the card down, you're then writing down platoon. Like that. And then you've got 3 accurately predicted predictions, but they don't realise that you're one step ahead because you know the card to begin with. So that's how it worked. For mine, because when you do it, experiment with it, I personally only wrote down, I know she said photographer, but because photographer's a long word, I then decided to shorten it, because if I was writing down, I was supposed to be writing down a card. If I was going and you heard this, writing down the full photographer, they'd be thinking, hang on. Some people might get onto the fact that you're not actually writing down a card because you're spending too long writing. So I shortened it to photo, which still, and then in my reveal, I say, okay, I was thinking of something along camera or something. So it looks like you know what you're saying, but all you're doing is making it more believable. You've still accurately predicted their word. You've just shortened it. So that then basically gives you cover for the trick. So that is the trick if you liked it. It's called the one ahead routine. So you can do it with any three things. It doesn't have to be a number or words. It could be anything. You could say, okay, think of a colour and a number. As long as you have the card, because the card is the only thing you know in advance, because you've done the crisscross force or the cross force. So if you liked it, please would you give it a huge thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll see you tomorrow at 6 for more magic. And like I said, stay safe, practice, and as always, thanks for watching.